Guthrie got into the folk business on the ground floor. His dad, Woody, along with Pete Seeger, virtually invented folk music. After Woody passed on, Pete continued to be a mentor and sort of a stepdad to Arlo. They've performed together often, and you can see the influence Pete's had on Arlo's music.
You know, speaking about Pete Seeger, I was just thinking about him, and one of the few times I got to sing together with him was a few years ago, right after the wall in Berlin had come down, and we were singing at a folk festival just like this over in Denmark one time. 30,000 people showed up, and for the first time, not just people from Western Europe, but from all of Europe. And for some of them, they had never remembered a time, never knew a time when they could just go down the road and sing with people, hang out, have a few beers down the street in another town. And to be there with 30,000 people drinking German beer for 3 days was a fabulous thing. And there's old Pete up there leading everybody in all of these songs that used to be important in this country a few decades ago. All those We Shall Overcome type songs. Everything was fine until Pete looked at me and, he said, "Arlo, why don't you sing something?" And I realized that Pete had sung all of the songs I thought anyone might know. But I thought to myself, there's more than one way that songs get around. And so I said, well, here's one you might know. It was made popular by that king of folk singers there, Elvis Presley. And Pete looked at me. Seems like a nice guy most of the time. But I had the feeling by the look in his eye that banjo could get fairly dangerous any moment. But it didn't stop me. I went like this. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. I got just that far through the song and realized there was 30,000 people singing along with me. Everybody knew the words. So Pete looked at them. But I was feeling safer. Then he walked up to the microphone. I didn't know what he was gonna say, but he didn't say anything. Just started playing it on the banjo. And that's when I realized that Pete knew it too. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things were meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too, 'cause I can't help falling in love with you. So there we were, 30,000 drinking, screaming, crying people, singing an old Elvis tune somewhere in Europe. There was something really wonderful about that, and it made me feel proud to come from a country where our songs are known and sung all over the world. And not just the songs we think are important. I also learned a little bit about what folk music was, folk songs was, and what folk songs are not, because they're not always even about something, you know. I mean, here we were singing an old Elvis tune that didn't have a lot to say about world politics or something like that, but more was being said by who sung it and how they were feeling and what was happening than trying to sing a lot of songs that try and say a whole lot of stuff, you know. It's not where you come from, what kind of instruments you're playing. It has more to do with the hearts of people that get together every once in a while, something like this, and and just sing together, you know, and feel what that's like. Take my whole life too. Take my whole